Hi, the SI meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Thursday, February 6th. Still quite an amazing scene here in the suburbs of Philadelphia with lots of downed trees and road closures due to the downed trees, as well as some limbs and power lines are downed as well. Hundreds of thousands of people are still without power. It turned out to be the most power outages ever for a wintertime storm. More than 650,000 as reported by PECO, the main energy provider here in the southeastern part of Pennsylvania. The last ice storm that produced nearly as many power outages occurred back in January of 1994. This has bested that in terms of the number of power outages, and the 650,000 plus power outages is second only to Hurricane Sandy, which resulted in about 850,000 power outages. So quite an amazing week here in the southeastern part of Pennsylvania. The storm on Monday produced some 10 inches of snow or so in the Philadelphia suburbs, which turned out to be pretty much the bullseye for the snowfall for that particular system on Monday. And it turned out that that contributed to the reason why southeastern part of Pennsylvania turned out to be the bullseye for the major ice storm that occurred late Tuesday night and Wednesday. We're now in recovery mode here in southeastern part of Pennsylvania. Dry and cold weather will continue for the rest of today as well as on Friday. And then we have the weekend systems to deal with. It looks like right now nothing major will develop, but it still bears watching. There are two different systems, one from the southern branch of the jet stream and one from the northern branch. One way to get a big snowstorm around here in the Mid-Atlantic region is to have a northern wave phase in with a southern wave and develop into one big storm along the northeast U.S. coast. That does not appear to be the scenario for the upcoming weekend. It appears that the southern branch will move on out ahead of the northern branch and they will not phase together. One other way to get a significant snowfall, however, is if a northern branch slows down as it approaches the Mid-Atlantic coastline and intensifies as a negative trough moves towards the east coast. And that still has some possibility, so it still is a situation that bears watching, especially for the Sunday system, which will be the northern branch as it approaches the east coast. Let's first take a look at the upper air forecast. This is from the very latest NAM model run, the 12Z Thursday model run. And this is for Saturday morning. We'll look at Saturday morning, then 12-hour increments to Sunday morning. First in the upper atmosphere, 500 millibar level, and then at the surface, again, using the very latest 12Z NAM model run. As of Saturday morning, here is the southern piece of energy in the southeastern part of the country, and here is the vigorous northern branch upper level low. And notice they're separated, and they will continue to be separated. This continues to move to the north and east. Indeed, it does form a pretty strong low pressure system off the Mid-Atlantic coastline. Then this rolls in behind it on Sunday. They do not phase together, at least as of the current thinking, they will not phase together. Let's now jump ahead 12 hours. Here is the Saturday evening forecast. Here's that first wave, the southern branch. That could throw some snow, mostly on the light side here in the Mid-Atlantic region. And here's the northern branch. Again, separation between the two. They do not phase together. They do not form one big low off the Mid-Atlantic coastline. But this second system is quite a healthy looking system. Now let's jump ahead to Sunday morning. And by Sunday morning, the northern branch does have a negative tilt to it. And this is always something that bears watching because it can develop into rather quickly upon reaching the Atlantic Ocean. So even though there is not going to be a phasing of the initial southern branch with the second northern branch, this northern branch is pretty healthy looking and does bear watching. It could develop rapidly upon approaching the Mid-Atlantic coastline. There can be some accumulating snow on Sunday associated with this. Let's now take a look at the surface forecast maps. And we'll look at the same time period, Saturday morning, then 12 hours later, Saturday evening, and then Sunday morning from the very latest 12Z Thursday NAM model run. Fair amount of moisture here associated with that southern branch, and a separate wave of low pressure here reflected by the NAM model with that northern branch, that second system. Again, not phasing together. Cold high pressure dominates Saturday morning over the Mid-Atlantic region. Let's now jump ahead 12 hours. And here's the Saturday evening forecast. Indeed, that southern branch develops into a pretty strong mid-Atlantic low-pressure system, a couple hundred miles off the East Coast. Some snow can back into the I-95 corridor. Here's the precipitation in the form of snow associated with that northern branch. So again, a separation between the two. Again, we can get brushed by this particular storm here in the I-95 corridor of D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York City on Saturday. Perhaps some small accumulations. Then the attention turns to the northern wave. Let's now jump ahead to Sunday morning. And here's the Sunday morning surface forecast map by the 12Z NAM model run. That first wave well off the East Coast. And here's a fairly widespread area of light to moderate snow associated with that northern branch that comes through on Sunday. Can be some light to moderate snow accumulations with this. And again, we'll have to monitor this because there is a chance that this could intensify fairly rapidly on Sunday as it approaches the warmer waters off the western Atlantic coastline here. So the situation is not completely set in stone yet. Again, it does not look like the initial southern wave will phase in together with the northern wave. But the northern wave is a pretty healthy looking wave, and it could certainly on its own intensify on Sunday. So we'll continue to monitor this situation. Still kind of a fluid situation for the upcoming weekend. That's it for now. For the SIWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.